It is so strange that every single time I happen to take an Amtrak train between Boston and Connecticut, there's some kind of a sudden, inexplicable delay where the train suddenly stops in the middle of the tracks for no reason and just sits there. And I've been reviewing the schedule of trains that have gone between Connecticut and Boston earlier today, and this is the only one that's had any delay. We've been sitting here for at least 20 minutes now, not moving. Not moving. Train is not moving. And it is shortly before 11 p.m. on Monday, July 21st, 2025. The interesting thing is that this happened the last time I took a train from Connecticut to Boston, and it happened the time before that. The last time I took a train from Connecticut to Boston, it was delayed by an hour, and that was the only train that day that was delayed. The train that I took before that from Connecticut to Boston was suddenly stopped in the middle of the tracks because apparently there were some branches on the tracks that needed to be cleared, even though it was a clear and sunny day. Now they're saying that there's an electronic communication error that is preventing the train from moving forward. Sounds like a hack. Electronic communication error. Isn't that like another word for hacking? Electronic communication error that is preventing this train from doing anything other than just sitting here. Amtrak just sent me a text message. Hopefully they sent it to all passengers on this train, saying that there's an electronic communication error that is preventing the train from moving. Sounds like a hack. That's weird. What's even more interesting is just as this train was suddenly stopping in the middle of the tracks and hasn't moved since, someone who has been using a directed energy device to electronically assault me pretty frequently over the last 6-7 years now has resumed the use of that directed energy device 15-20 minutes ago while I'm sitting here on this car in the middle of nowhere. That means that the person who is using that directed energy device is physically located on this train. Directed energy devices exist. They're actually fairly commonly used, mostly by Russians, actually, and also by US law enforcement. And my landlord is a Russian slumlord. That's a fact. They're a crooked criminal Russian slumlord, as evidenced by the number of times that the city of Boston has taken them to court for criminal negligence in the building where I live, and specifically for criminal negligence in my unit of residence in the building where I live that the criminal Russian slumlord owns. They have bragged about using a hacker named Jasmine Irizarry to interfere with the functioning of my electronic devices, and Mr. Oleg Aleseyev, the property manager, has bragged about Jasmine Irizarry's hacking abilities on multiple occasions when I was talking to him in person about how she keeps interfering with the functioning of my electronics. Irizarry herself admitted to the use of a directed energy device in written comments that she has made on my social media page. Now I'm getting electronically assaulted by the same directed energy device that Jasmine Irizarry has bragged that she's getting paid a lot of money to use on me. And I'm on a train in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the middle of Connecticut, that has suddenly stopped and that has been sitting here for 20 minutes because of what Amtrak calls an electronic communication error. So you do the math on that one. So I've actually just had to step away from my seat because the use of a directed energy device over the last 20 minutes now has been increasingly intense and uncomfortable. And I'm just trying to see if the electronic assault stops if I change locations. Right now, the train is not moving. It's actually very quiet, and I'm standing between two cars because the train has been stopped for 40 minutes now. So it's right around 11:15 now, and we're somewhere in the middle of Connecticut, in the middle of nowhere. This is a window. There are no lights anywhere, so we're not near any kind of town or city. And directed energy weapons or devices, whatever you want to call them, only have a range of approximately 2 miles, 2.5 miles at the most. So if you're getting hit with an electronic assault device, such as a directed energy weapon, that means that whoever is using that device on you is somewhere within a couple of miles. Because this train is stopped in the middle of nowhere and has been for 40 minutes now, and because I started experiencing these electronic assaults with increasing frequency and intensity after the train had stopped, this means that the person who is using the directed energy device to electronically assault me is on the train. And they have also admitted in writing on multiple comments that they have made on my YouTube channel that they are using a directed energy weapon. That person is Jasmine Irizarry. I have screenshots of her comments telling me that she is using a directed energy device, that she's getting paid a lot of money to do it, that she has it mounted on a tripod and that she's aiming it at my head, and that she's not using it that hard. Well, I've actually, oh, wow. Okay, no. So this is not location specific. This electronic assault is now happening here while I'm standing between two cars. So it has nothing to do with the seat that I was sitting in, or, maybe there's like an electronic current running around the seat where I was sitting or something. No, because it's happening right now while I'm standing here talking about Jasmine Irizarry. And she frequently electronically assaults me when I talk about her in videos that I make, which means not only does she have knowledge of what I say and do when I'm on my phone, but she is the one using the directed energy device, as she herself